Hello, good morning. My name is Laura Jane. Hello. And today we are here with Marjorie Stewart. She's a member and dancer from Shot of Scotch. Marjorie, would you like to introduce yourself and tell our audience a little bit about you?
Thank you so much, Laura Jane. It was so nice to meet you at ScotlandShop a few weeks ago.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm Marjorie Stewart, and I've been a member of Shot of Scotch since, I believe, 2014. I live in New York. I've been dancing since I was a small child, different kinds of dance. And through the pandemic, I've just been rehearsing with my group, just keeping everything going.
Today, I would love to ask you some questions so that we can learn more about Highland Dance itself and more about you and what Shot of Scotch get up to. So first of all, I would like to know, I was a Highland dancer myself when I was I started when I was 5 and 10. So Highland dancing is quite, it was a huge part of my childhood. So it's very important to me. And I first wanted to know how you yourself got involved in Highland dancing.
Well, I did get involved in it much later in life than, most Highland dancers like yourself who start out, as just a small child. I did start dancing as a small child. I started taking ballet class when I was 2, but I didn't start Highland dancing till 2013. I didn't even really know Highland dancing was a thing. I think I had seen it done, but I saw it done really well at the Tartan Day Parade in New York City in 2013. And there were 2 different groups dancing. And there were also girls visiting from Canada and dancing with the woman who ended up being my dance teacher. And so within I think the parade, the pre-parade Kaylee was on a Friday, the parade was on a Saturday, and I was in the dance class by Tuesday. And I just was full force. I was going a couple of times a week, every chance I could get. And I was just determined to learn Highland dancing and start performing as soon as possible. Of course, I thought it looked so much easier than it really is. And I thought it would be like, oh, I'm a ballet dancer. I can totally do this. But there are so many similarities to ballet, but there's these small differences that once your brain is conditioned to do things one way, it's a lot hard to change it into just, making these slight differences that would count, if you're competing, of course, they count a great deal. And performance, they do count, but sometimes they go unnoticed to people that aren't Highland dancers. So as long as you hold your body well and, make a good presentation, but I think I've done fairly well.
Yes, no, I'm sure you have. And that's interesting. So you did do ballet before. Was that the only type of dance that you had done prior to starting Highland dance?
Tap. I was really into tap, especially as a child. Jazz, modern, a lot of just musical theater dancing. I did a lot of musical theater performance in Summerstock theater here in the tri-state area. And just so much crossover, even in just with what you would take as a typical jazz class, back then when I was a child, it was just the jazz class included salsa and just all different kinds of, hip hop. So if you were taking a jazz class, you were taking all these other kinds of dance classes too. And then of course, when you're, you can go take dance class in New York City, you could take any kind of dance class. So pretty versatile in that respect.
Yes. Part of being a dancer, I think, which is really, really cool. And you're in a good place for it. Well, being in New York and New York City. Like you say, you can do whatever type of dance you wish. So that's really cool. So after that, when you did find Highland dancing as your I suppose new passion, could we say? So why did you tell me about why you joined Shot of Scotch in particular and how you found them?
The same girl that was teaching, that was dancing, that I saw dancing, her name's Kendra Monroe, and she has the Monroe School of Highland Dance.
Yes.
I just immediately contacted her, and she and a couple of girls from Canada, when they were in the United States, they formed Shot of Scotch. And then when the girls from Canada moved back to Canada, then there are 2 different branches. And my teacher, Kendra, it was up to her. She had to instantly she wasn't teaching, but she instantly became such a great teacher. And she, got her certificates and everything. And we were kind of learning from her through the process of her learning to be a teacher. And she's just wonderful. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to be doing all of this. So I'm really grateful that she moved to New York City and started the group with the girls from Canada and let me, made it possible for me to join Shot of Scotch, because it's really been the greatest part of my New York City experience.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I think the teachers do make such a huge difference. So
Yes.
it's always nice. And then, so what would you say is your favorite thing about Highland Dance?
So many things, but one of the greatest things that I love is just being in the dance classes and being in the dance group, and then also being a part of the New York City American Scottish community. It's, when you're living in New York City, it can just seem you can seem isolated in that big group of people. But then when you're in the Scottish community, it gives being in the city like that small town feel, because you're just, you're going to all these events all the time and you really get to know the people, you see the same people. It even with social media and our events, it even outreaches to like Scotland and Canada and, further areas of this country. And you just have this large, ever-growing community of people. And it's so nice to be like recognized and be able to be of value to that community, to be able to bring, dancing to the community and share it with people. Because when there's dancing or singing or some kind of musical event, it brings so much more to the event. So it's really nice to have that to be of value to the community.
And speaking of community, do you have a favorite Highland dancing games that are in your local area or in your community?
I guess I really enjoy the Long Island Highland Games, because it's probably, it's one that my dance group participates in, and we see a lot of the same people every year. So all of us really look forward to that, and it's a whole day event, and we do 2 dance performances, and there's even a little teaching part sometimes, and just spending the whole day. It's like a big picnic. The whole day is like a big picnic, and just love it.
I'm really looking forward to attending those this summer. That would be very cool. And then, where have you traveled as a Highland dancer?
As a Highland dancer, I personally have not done a lot of traveling, really just in the tri-state area. I was on tour with a tour company, a long time ago with dancing, just regular dancing. And I toured the US on that tour, but most of the other dancers in my group, they'll go and do, compete or participate in different competitions around the country, in other states and other countries, and perform in different tattoos across the country. And so they do. There is an opportunity to do that. I myself am not in that position, as I'm taking care of my mom. So I wish I could be out competing, but competing and performing in other tattoos. But
Yes, maybe in the future, maybe somewhere down the line. Yes. And what does the dancing culture and dancing itself? This could be in terms of Highland dancing or other types of dance you have done. What does that mean to you?
I'm just very grateful that my parents got me into dancing as a child, because I just think, as far, just as a fitness level, just having, just knowing the power of your body. Because I feel like a lot of people that want to go out and exercise or something, they're exercising, but they're really not putting their full potential into it. Like when you're, especially in earlier years, I think it's changing, because there's, what is abuse and what is not abuse. But even as a dancer, you kind of really like a strong discipline. So it gives you a strong discipline to really take care of your body, and to know that what limits you can really push your body to. And that's what really gives you a really good body, and just knowing how powerful your body is. And it just, if you keep at it, it's, just serves you through your life. Even if you weren't dancing anymore, you already know that you've built up this incredible stamina, so you can really get a good workout, like a workout that really does something. And just, of course, I love dancing, and all the different people that I've met through job opportunities and performances. And even now, like I perform with I went to a Celtic event, and a dance teacher I've gotten to know, she had me dance during the time slot of her little Irish dancers. And it was just so adorable to just like hang out with these little girls and teenagers, and be a part of their little community too. So it really brings people together.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with the community. I love the fact that dancing brings people together, and there is nothing like a workout through dance. I really do. I love the sweat that you get after a good
Right.
dance workout. That's
Right.
good. And so my favorite dance when I was a Highland dancer was the Flora. So I would like to know what your favorite dance from Highland Dance is.
I love the floor too. I think I love all of them for different reasons and different steps, but I
Yeah.
tend to favor the chanteuse because I've always liked the shedding movement, that the shake step. I can't remember what it's called, but just the step that represents the shedding of the trousers, and when Scottish people started wearing their kilts again. I just love that, the whole idea of that.
Yeah, and the meaning behind it was cool. Have you ever yourself thought about teaching Highland dance or even becoming a judge?
I really would. I would so like to teach. It was never something I wanted to do earlier in life, so I didn't pursue it in any form of dance. But now, as I'm getting more mature, I really, I really would like to do that. I would love to be a teacher and a judge. I do have the instructions on how to go about it. It's rather complicated, but I would like to do that in the future.
So, what advice would you give to young Highland dancers or anyone who is looking to get involved in Highland dancing?
Well, I would definitely say just start. Like, just if you can find a class, just start it. And what's great about it now, because of technology, and even the pandemic has pushed people into doing more Zooms. And my dance teacher is teaching Highland dance 2 times a week, Monroe School of Highland Dance, on Sundays and Wednesdays. And our dance group, two or three of the girls that teach in my dance group, they're doing workshops in Manhattan, live workshops, so people can dance in person. But most of us take class with Kendra as well. So it's easier. It's better to practice with a teacher, even if you think you're going to practice on your own. It's better to have somebody checking on your technique and such.
Yes, of course. And then when you dance, what tartan do you wear when you're dancing? And have you always worn the same tartan?
My my kilt outfits are both Stewart, because my last name is Stewart.
Yeah.
Three of my grandparents were born in Scotland, so I generally favor the Stewart. I have the Stewart muted blue dress kilts, and I also have the Royal Stewart dress that I'll wear for my traditional Highland kilt outfits. And then my Arisade or Boyne for the more feminine dances, I wear the Bell tartan, Bell of the Borders, because my mother's name is Isabel, and her mother's maiden name was Bell. So I feel like I wear the Stewart for the more masculine dances, because that's on my father's side. And then I wear the Bell of the Borders for the more feminine dances, because that's my mother's side of the family.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. And then, well, with that, you've kind of told me a little bit about what I want to know is my next question. But it was linked to, can you tell me about your connection to Clan Stewart and what it's like being part of the clan?
Oh, well, I'm so proud to be a Stewart. I've always loved my last name. And I'm just happy that, my grandparents moved here as immigrants from Scotland, three of them from Scotland. And, they're always just, back then people just wanted to assimilate into the
Yeah.
States. They weren't really trying to be Scottish, they were trying to be American. So I haven't really joined a lot of groups that are specifically Clan Stewart. That's something I would like to do, but I call myself the Clan Stewart. Just my mother and I were Stewarts, so I'm like, oh, Clan Stewart is here, whenever we show up somewhere or something like that.
Yeah.
But just, even when I drive past the cemetery and I see my father's parents in particular, it just makes me feel good that, even especially because I haven't ever had children, it makes me feel good that it's like, like I'm a little bit of a legacy for them, that I'm, skipping down 6th Avenue in the Tartan Day Parade, that's somebody that's been a child. So that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And other than dancing, this also follows on from what you've just said. But other than dancing, have you always celebrated your Scottish heritage? And what are your favourite elements of Scottish culture?
Definitely wearing tartan
Yeah,
is my
yeah.
favorite. There's just a lot of the Scottish tunes that I just love. The accent, whenever I hear the accent, both of my grandmothers had a very faint Scottish accent, but whenever I hear somebody with a Scottish accent like yours, it's just like my ears are just like singing and just makes my heart swell.
Thank you. That's very sweet. Well, thank you so much for answering all of the questions with me today. I really appreciate your time, and I love hearing your passion about your passion for Highland dancing. So thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you.